Everybody take turns leaning into the microphone, talking very softly. Welcome to, what's the name of the show?
Help. Basic Teen TV.
Welcome to Basic Teen TV.
I'm going to use that
Tonight
for sure.
we're discussing episodes 7, 8, and 9. This is Victoria. I have with me here the foremost hostess of this podcast, Melissa, and our reoccurring guest hostess, Cyndi.
Cyndi!
Say hello, Cyndi.
Hello. I'll coming at you from London town.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
No offensive accents.
Well, you need to have a correspondent that represents England.
It would
You're
be
from
okay
Baltimore.
if you could do a proper English accent.
I do it really well.
No,
No,
you
you
don't. Okay, 7, 8, and 9.
Oh, that's the beginning. We're using
Yeah,
it. Oh.
we're gonna use it.
Hey, guys.
Where are you new?
I'm new in off the boat from London
I
town.
just did my best NPR
No.
intro ever, and
No.
you just took a big British shit all over it.
You need correspondents, darling, from all over the world.
That one's better.
Just so everyone knows, we're on our second glass of wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I had some at work, so I'm on my
What?
fifth.
Okay, guys. Episode 7, 8, 9, season 2. Whoop 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 whoop.
Episode 7.
Episode 7, the all-nighter.
This is actually a pretty good episode.
Oh, what? I am mind blown coming
This-
from Victoria.
Episode gave me so much goddamn anxiety. It's all the studying that happened. It's the stress of the test coming up. I almost couldn't finish watching it.
What? You couldn't finish? It gave you that much anxiety?
I don't want to think about studying right now. I'm trying to have fun. I'm all like Chris Wolf, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to have a good night in the hot tub. I'm not trying to study. Shit.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I guess I felt like, oh, thank God I'm not in high school anymore. But I guess I feel like that every time I watch this show.
I think, wait, are they in Massachusetts?
That's what we're guessing.
Thank
Cape-
God I'm not
Cape-
in Massachusetts
Cape
anymore,
Cod
is what
area.
I think.
Yeah.
Cape Cod area. Yeah.
So yeah, this episode, they have the English final or something.
Like a literature final. Yeah, where they're going over all the different plays that they've read. Because they talk about Shakespeare and Beowulf, which I guess is not a play, it's a poem, but...
So they have a study.
But it's like a literature class.
Yeah, so the teacher is gonna host a study session after school, and they show up for it, and he's bailed on his own study session. So then they decide
to go over to the rich kid's house.
Wait,
Yeah.
the teacher bailed?
The teacher got sick. So
I must have been in the bathroom again. I'm in the bathroom for most.
So Cyndi doesn't actually watch the show. She just reads about it online. She watches YouTube clips and then shows up for this.
I missed that entirely.
Well, yeah, because in the classroom scene, he's sniffling and he's got his Kleenex in his hand.
He's also being a dick. What's his problem?
He was
he's
a dick.
literature teacher.
Is-
They're all dicks. I don't know. My English teacher. In
I
high
will
school-
say this: the teachers in this show are more dickish than I ever remember actual teachers being towards students.
Mine were either lesbians or pedophiles, or yeah, that's pretty much it.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
My teachers were just fine. I liked most of my teachers.
Yeah, mine were mostly okay, but some of them are assholes. I had a Spanish teacher in high school who called old people raisins. It was hilarious. She'd always come in and be like, I was late this morning because I was stuck behind this raisin in traffic. She was the best.
I like her.
A raisin.
Yeah,
That's weird.
Wrinkled up old people.
Oh my gosh.
I remember that.
So they go over. So Andy, she's the neurotic one. I can see how she might cause anxiety in anyone who's watching her on this show. But they go over to this rich kid's house, who I thought was a new student, but apparently he's a new actor character to the show. But he's
Chris Wolf.
Yes. That's
Yeah,
the
I
character's
wrote down
name.
his name.
Oh, Chris Wolf. I knew his name was Chris. I didn't catch his last name.
Chris Wolf.
Wolf.
He's in the fandom site that I've been using to get my Cliff Notes. # Team Cliff. So is this guy supposed to replace Cliff? Anyways, he's described as the school stud, but he comes out of nowhere and he's trying.
He's
does
wearing
come
a
out of
choker
nowhere.
necklace.
Is he?
In what universe is that the school?
It's the
stud?
90s. It's the 90s.
With like a little pendant that he never
Yeah.
takes off. He refuses to take it off.
It's the
Even when
90s.
he's totally naked, that
He's
choker
the school
pendant's still
stud.
on.
I think he's supposed to start kind of replace Cliff because we don't know where he went. Like he probably graduated. And he's trying
his
to.
character is also kind of like the jock slut or something. Like
Yeah.
No, he's a predator.
No,
I wrote in
he's
my
100% predator.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes. He's the classic villain manipulator. Like they really went above and beyond to like hit it over your head.
Well-
He's a bad guy, and he takes advantage of
This is
girls.
a '90s teen television show, so it's not that subtle. They have to make everything obvious.
Yeah,
I was
I mean, the
gonna say,
minute I saw
I-
the choker, I was like, "That's
the
a predator."
the choker gave it away.
Chris
Like, it's
Wolf is
class-
his name, and he wears a
Oh,
choker.
Wolf.
He
Wolf, that
he
is so
the
obvious.
Class date raper.
Yeah, dude. And I'm
Um,
pretty sure he was wearing eyeliner on the bottom eyelid.
That may have just been the makeup department for the filming.
I will
Define
say
his
this.
eyes or
I
something.
remember not thinking that he was a predator when I watched this show in high school. I just thought he was the cute new guy in the show. Yeah.
he's
I didn't
Our
pick up. I didn't
perceptions
pick
have
up.
changed.
He's
Yeah.
trying hard to bang Jen.
Yeah, he keeps like all of his pickup lines. Did I write some down? I wrote, "Who is the skis ball hitting on Jen? What are these pickup lines?" And she falls for it.
Although she tries to come off as like knowing what's going on.
Yeah, she's because Dawson.
'Cause
confronts
Dawson
her,
is,
and
like,
he's
trying
"You-"
to-
Yeah, he's like, you know that he's just trying to get in your pants, and she's like, well, duh. But she's like, maybe I have an agenda too.
And she's like, "Who are you to say I don't have my own plan? Like, don't think just because I'm a woman that I can't take care of myself."
I mean,
Well,
she's,
you were caught banging on your grandmother's
Kitchen
kitchen
okay,
table
so
with
like
the grapes.
35-year-old longshoreman.
Yeah, there was that whole situation.
Chris Wolf is played by Jason Behr, who was in Roswell.
Is that yes? I was
Yeah.
like, what else has this guy been? Because he's had his own major role in a teen drama.
It was Roswell.
Yeah,
The
the
sci-fi
alien sci-fi
Yeah, UFO.
teen drama. Yeah, that takes place in Roswell, Arizona, right? Arizona.
New Mexico. Close.
So close.
It is close.
Technically,
They're
yeah.
right next to each
No,
other.
Roswell, Arizona. Reppin' Roswell, Arizona.
So they go to Chris Wolf's house. He's like, just come to my house for a study session. My parents are like out of town or something. I forget what he says. Probably what he says. And they all agree to go. And I remember Pacey is like, yeah, we should go. This guy is rich.
He has a satellite dish. Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's what I thought too. I'm like, he's stoked about a satellite dish.
We're not talking about the kind that you mount on your balcony, the like little one.
The
that's,
little
like,
ones. We're talking
no.
about the big ass.
When I was growing up, my grandmother had a satellite dish because she lived out in the boondocks. It was the only way you could have television. And I remember I thought it was so neat because when you use the remote, the dish would be
would
like,
move.
"Brrr."
It would
And
move
I used to like run outside to see the dish go brrr, brrr,
to find the signal.
brrr. And then you could watch the Smurfs in French.
Whoa.
And that's exactly what happens in the show. They get there to his house, and Pacey's immediately like, where's the TV room? And turns on the satellite dish and is like, look.
Come watch the Stooges in
Yes.
some foreign language.
Yeah.
But he gets all stoked about the satellite dish, and they get all stoked by Chris's ride, which is a bright red Suburban. It's not a cool car.
It's a soccer
It's a
dad
soccer.
car.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm like, it's such a family car. It's not like what the cool kids
It's a
drove.
very all-purpose
Yeah.
vehicle.
I mean, it was a 4-door Suburban with like the huge, bat. It was like a truck with a
Oh.
hard top on it.
and they're like, sick.
They're like,
Well, I
yeah, look at
remember-
his ride.
I remember in the 90s, like, the guys drove, like, if you had, like, a Jeep Grand Cherokee or some bullshit like that, then you were, like, cool.
I do
You had a
remember-
a giant fucking car.
I do remember my first boyfriend in high school driving. I can't remember what it was, but it It was a 2-door Suburban. It looked cooler than a Suburban because, yes, even in high school, a Suburban is what your mom drove. But I remember my boyfriend's truck looking cool because it wasn't like...
Well, did he deal drugs? That's
No.
a drug dealer's Suburban.
So I just thought it was really funny that that Pacey in particular was excited about a satellite dish, and that him and a few others got excited by the sight of his Suburban. I was like, it's not a cool car. Not a cool car.
Your satellite dish also not cool.
But it was the 90s. We have to remember it was the 90s.
I mean, that was my...
But this was the late 90s too. Are they still like people getting stoked about satellite dishes in 1998?
The satellite dish that my
1999?
grandmother had, I'm talking about 85 maybe, is when I would, like, as a little kid, hit the remote and run outside to see the satellite dish physically rotating up towards the sky. Yeah, I was surprised when he said it. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about?
It cracked me
Satellite
up when
dish.
I heard it. Cracked me up.
I don't remember that
Not-
part.
not-
Were you in the bathroom again?
I must have been.
Oh my
You're not
gosh.
actually watching the show.
I have so many notes. I'm watching it.
What are some of your other notes, Cyndi?
Oh, well, this is jumping ahead quite a bit in the episode. I loved the music transition when they were playing the purity test. Like, eventually they gave up on studying.
Right.
And they took that purity test from Cosmopolitan.
No, it was Jane Magazine.
Oh,
Did you actually see the magazine?
No, they were talking about it in the
Oh.
beginning. Jane Magazine. So when
I thought it was... I didn't see the magazine. I just assumed it was Cosmo.
It was Jane, and Jane was... I had 2 teen
I remember
magazine
Jane.
subscriptions when
I remember
was a
Jane,
teenager,
too.
and it was Jane and 17.
17, yeah.
17 was like the preppier version, and Jane was like the alternative girl.
Was
magazine.
Jane...
Ternatine.
Yeah, it was all like, you know, it was a little bit...
Was Jane supposed to be a little bit older than 17, too?
I mean, maybe. It was just a little edgier. It was a little more punk rock.
Alternatine. You know
I
what that
learned
means?
about Radiohead because Jane used to send out a mixtape sampler like
What?
once a
Jane
year.
was the bomb.
Jane sent out mixtapes?
I still have them
What?
because they were so good. But Radiohead debuted on a Jane mixtape that I had, and I heard it and I loved it, and then it became fucking Radiohead.
Shut up. Are you serious?
I don't think they ever published a purity test in that magazine.
Because you would have
But
known
did
about it.
Radiohead acknowledge that Alternatine magazine, Jane,
Launch their career.
I don't know.
they didn't want that association? Now they're just giving their shit away for free.
You need
I mean,
to
they
bring those mixtapes from home next time you go.
I'm gonna find them.
Yeah. So, speaking of music, the very first song in this episode didn't register on Shazam, so I don't know what it is. But a few other songs, Who Needs Sleep by the Bare Naked Ladies, and then the song called Spread Thin by the Red Thread. Yes. Oh, but speaking of, so Victoria, you talked about it, that you found this what do you call it?
The site's called Fandom.
Fandom
So
site
it's
for
like
Dawson's
it's
Creek.
like a Dawson Creek wiki.
Right. So I have also found a website that has cataloged every single song from every single episode of Dawson's Creek. So I'm going to use that as my my reference for songs because I keep forgetting to Shazam stuff when I hear it. And so I'm not doing a good job.
Well, this has been my supplemental note taking, Cliff Notes.
Like your cliff notes for
Butterfly
Dawson's
notes.
Creek.
Butterfly notes.
But also I learned from that
From the website?
yeah, that I didn't recognize her, but the actress that plays Andy is from Criminal Minds. She's Hotchner's wife. Oh, what I also learned, I looked up her age. She's 29. When it was filming,
She was 29.
what we were watching, she is a 29-year-old woman. And her brother Jack is a 28-year-old
How
man.
old was everyone else?
19 or 20, and they're playing 15, 16-year-olds.
But 19,
I feel
That
like
works.
that still works. Although, I mean,
but 29?
yeah, well, that's like Andrea from 90210, who was clearly 30.
But wait, no, but Andrea was obvious. Andrea was obviously
Yes.
older. Although I think that the actress who plays Andy and the actor who plays Jack are convincing as high schoolers.
I was surprised. I
Yeah.
was surprised to realize that she's playing a very neurotic, tightly spun,
High-pitched
yeah,
voice.
like 16-year-old, and
Yeah.
she's 30.
I think that was good casting. I bought them. I remember back in the day believing that they were playing 16, 17-year-olds.
I was in the bathroom for all of 90210.
I didn't 90210.
Yeah, the whole time. I was
No,
just
we're
in the
talking
bathroom.
about the Andy from this show. The one
I know,
we're
but you were talking about
Andrea?
Andrea from
I don't know who that
90210,
is.
The old dorky
I didn't
one.
watch 90210.
Neither did I, but I
Neither
knew
did I, but I knew who she was, yeah.
She was the old one. But there, they were supposed to be like
90210.
17, 18, 19, whatever, and they were like 25. But Andrea, the actress who played Andrea, was like 33.
She was the most obvious one who was clearly, even when that show was like on the air.
Yeah, I was like, what's wrong with that one? Why is she
I remember
like
that being a thing even when the show was still on. Like, before it went into syndication, like, when it was actually on. I remember being talked about, like, how old is that actress really? She can't even, like, play a high schooler very well. Like, she just looks older, she acts older, she's not even acting like a high schooler.
What is
She
ugly
did kind of
bitch.
suck.
She was kind of like the Debbie Downer of 90210.
Well, that's what happens. Once you hit 30.
Downhill.
I mean, once you hit 40. Friday nights, you just want to go home and go to bed instead of recording podcasts.
Burn.
Damn. That's like straight through my heart.
So they're all at Chris Wolf's manse, and and they're doing a study sesh, and
they
Not
don't
really studying at
they
first,
don't do
though.
any studying.
Eating
Well, no.
pizza,
Jen and
drinking.
Chris end up in the hot tub together. Joey's mad at Dawson. Like, Pacey. Oh, Andy finds out that. Oh God, what?
Well, the purity test from Jane Magazine is what leads to this.
Question
well,
number
so-
16.
So
There's a couple. There's a couple things. The very last question is, have you ever been in love? And Joey writes down that she's been in love twice.
I have things to say about this.
Okay.
We'll get to that at the end.
And then question 16 is...
Bullshit.
What was question 16?
have you had sex with a woman 10 years older than you?
Oh, okay.
Which
Or,
is a very...
or with someone
who
is 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
What a
whatever.
specific, convenient question to have in this purity
It was
test.
like 800
They had
questions.
Yeah, there were a lot of questions.
So-
10 years older than you, though? It's
Well,
very
when
specific.
you're a 17, 18-year-old reading a magazine, 10 years is
Yeah,
And when
28.
you're asking like a 20-year-old if they've had sex with a 30-year-old. That's
It just seemed very convenient for the...
well, of course
Plot.
it is.
well, yeah, because
it has
Andy,
to be.
because there's a budding romance between Andy and Pacey.
Oh, what the fuck was that? Oh my god. What was it?
What was that, Melissa? Murphy? Shh, that was scary. Was that fireworks? Because it sounded like a fucking bomb.
lit off a firework.
Like
right there.
Like in this apartment. Holy fuck, that was loud.
Okay.
For the listeners at home.
This is New York,
We
dude.
live in New York where anything can fucking happen.
And we're in Queens.
Listen, I don't care. You don't upset the dog, okay?
We might have to take a quick time out.
I have to say,
I want to listen to it.
This is Victoria.
this is Melissa.
This is Cyndi coming from London town.
No.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
We're okay.
It was just fireworks. Really loud ones that were set off right outside
Massive
the window.
explosion in Sunnyside, Queens.
Welcome to New York.
Okay. All right.
The windows
Seriously
shut.
though, we are all okay.
And I shook. I was shook.
My dog Murphy is okay. We're all okay. Our neighbors did not flinch. Or I should say my neighbors did not flinch.
Meanwhile, Cyndi and I
Cindy and
had-
Victoria.
had like panic attacks. And everybody else in the whole apartment complex was like, calm the fuck down. They're so desensitized to everything all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, what Cindy and Victoria don't know is that I've experienced this explosion before. No one reacts, so I don't react. My dog loses his shit for a hot minute, and then it just goes back to normal.
But it's not like last
And
weekend.
here we are.
Last weekend, somebody set off fireworks in my neighborhood, like 2 doors down in the backyard, and it was loud. And I was in the shower, and I was like, I was
mean,
like, what's happening? And it came out, but it wasn't even like that. It was just like little booms. It must have, yeah, it was like somebody set off a pipe bomb right outside.
It does always come from this side of the building, so it's
like
the same people.
Grenade.
It's the same people doing it whenever they're doing it.
Why are they doing it?
I don't know.
What is happening?
For fun. I don't know. Asshole
For
teenagers.
fun?
To try and-
Where do they go when they set it off?
Teenagers setting off explosives for fun. It was
a lot of fun.
The whole
It was
building
a lot of fun
rattled.
for
The
me.
windows rattled.
I thought my last words would be Dawson's Creek commentary. I mean, I thought that was the end for me.
Well, it's not, so let's keep talking about Dawson's Creek.
Okay.
So we were...
No lesson learned. Like, maybe we should live our lives another way.
We should go out in the
No.
world.
No.
Because we
Let's
escaped
talk
death today.
about Dawson's Creek.
Talk about this night
Okay.
show.
So we were talking about the purity test and question 16, which asked if you've ever had an affair or a relationship with someone 10 years older than you. And what were you saying? Budding romance were your last words.
Yeah, so it was a plot device because there's a thing between Andy and Pacey, but in the last season, Pacey has an affair with Tamara Jacobs,
the teacher.
his teacher.
Yeah.
So that's got to
Miss
come out.
Tamara, Miss Jacobs.
That's
Miss
gotta,
Jacobs,
that's
Miss
gotta
Jacobs.
come out somehow.
Pacey
And-
wasn't necessarily keeping it from her. He was just kind of moving on, is how I took it.
Yeah, and Andy has met Miss Jacobs. They ran into her on the street, and she did not pick up on what
The
was
very obvious
Yeah.
eye glances.
what was very obvious to everybody
Yeah.
else.
Because she's new, and she's also has a mental illness, which...
We haven't gotten there yet. Spoiler alert.
Nope. I'll just swallow that information.
It doesn't matter.
So maybe she's still like Aspergery
No,
or something, and she
I
doesn't
mean-
pick up on social clues.
I think Jack is Aspergery.
I think they both are. They're both wound a little tightly.
I think this whole show is cast full of Aspergers.
Asperger's Creek.
Everyone's on the goddamn spectrum in Dawson's Creek.
So Pacey was trying really hard not to answer the question, or he lied about it. He said no.
No, he didn't lie about it.
He didn't?
He was honest about it. They just
He didn't submit his test.
Yeah, and then Chris Wolf, the town jerk, calls him out on it because apparently it was a rumor.
Chris
and it
is like, set the rumor straight, Pacey. Set the rumor straight. You had an affair with the teacher, didn't you? And Pacey just looks at Andy knowingly, like, yeah.
there was something
In his
like-
really cool shirt. He was wearing like a Hawaiian
He wears
button-up
like
or
Tommy
something.
Bahama every
Yeah.
episode.
Well, fucking Dawson wears sweater vests. Fucking worse.
And really baggy khakis.
Yeah, baggy khakis.
Ill-fitting
And he's
khakis.
always like staring straight into everyone's eyes in every scene. Dawson. And whenever they do a close-up of Dawson's face, I'm like, dude, fucking take a chill pill. Like, why are you... Asperger's, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, Andy sort of doesn't figure out if the information is fed to her that he has had this affair with the teacher, and
It upsets her.
Yeah, she's upset.
She runs off crying.
Oh, because she had asked him earlier in the episode about his purity level, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm
totally virginal. I've never done anything.
yeah."
I wouldn't know what to do with a girl."
Except Miss Jameson, or whatever the fuck her name
Jack
is.
Jacobs.
What's her name? Tamara.
Miss Jameson.
Meanwhile, Joey and Dawson are trying to navigate their breakup, and they're just being really like
Sorry, Joey's being a confusing
bit.
biatch.
She's being a bit. She's being very confusing.
She's like, give me space.
She's giving Dawson mixed messages. Yes, because at the beginning of the episode, she's like, "What? We're never gonna talk again?" But I need my space.
Listen, I told you, I need my space. I was like, girl, you gotta chill. Make up your mind.
Yeah, well, Dawson like points it out to her, like, you want us to talk about
Well,
what
he
you
points
broke
it out
up
by
with-
looking directly
in
into
her
her pupils.
into her eyeballs.
And then deep into her soul.
They're just like yo-yoing back and forth with each other. It's really annoying. Dawson like flips out on Chris's little kid sister, and like sends her off crying.
Can I talk about her for a minute?
Yeah, please.
The whole time. This is what I put in my notes. Who is this Harry Potter looking motherfucking sister?
So yeah,
His kid sister who's
Why
like,
is she getting involved?
who like, because she's a little
Bored?
troublemaker. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, she's like nosy and she wants to bang Dawson.
and she's in love with
She
Dawson.
Yeah, at some point
that's what I thought
she tries
was a part
to
of
blackmail him into kiss. She tries to blackmail Dawson into kissing her.
Because she has Joey's test
Oh yeah, Joey said on her test that she's been in love twice.
That's another thing I need to address. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. The two people I fell in love with were you. That's what she says to Dawson at the end. First of all, I wrote ... bitch. You is a lying hoe. And I was like, and that's not what the question meant. So, you lied on the test, or you lying to Dawson. The question meant individuals, not some like existential
Well, no,
thing.
the question was how many times have you been in love?
I thought it was was it?
Wait.
Well, that
I
implies.
think the question was.
Yeah, but the implication is
But the implication
individuals.
that's what
And
any.
she's being all
But
Joey
she's
fucking
15
artistic.
and she's been in love twice with the same man because she's.
Because she's never known anything but the
Yeah, 'cause
creep.
If this were a standardized test, fail. Because that is not what it meant. You're reading into it too much. It meant multiple individuals.
Well, that's what these teenagers do. The teenagers in this show overanalyze, overthink, talk way too much about their feelings, which I thought was kind of funny because that's what Joey said. She's like, I'm just tired of talking. I don't have to talk all the time. But that's what they do.
I think she was lying to Dawson to cover her tracks. She fell in love with someone else, maybe Jack or something. Gazoom tight.
Well, Jack is new. I mean, we don't know what's going on with them.
Or maybe there was some other thing in her past.
No,
when she was 10,
I think
she
she
fell in
was.
love.
She's known Dawson since before
Yeah,
she was
no,
10.
I think she was being sincere. She's being lame, but she's being sincere.
Okay, so then she just failed the test.
Yeah, but she just.
All right, she failed the test.
Yeah.
She failed the purity test.
Idiot.
So
If I were
my-
grading
Which is
that
only supposed
purity
to
test,
which is only supposed to gauge your level of purity, not pass fail.
that's a fail.
So meanwhile,
Her interpretation skills failed.
Okay.
meanwhile, Jen and
Chris.
hit the hot tub, and then they hit the guest house,
And then they
Mm-hmm. Did the lights go off?
and then
That
they
was
hit
the
each
thing.
other.
And then the next morning when her hair is like looks like she put her finger in a
Oh.
socket.
Yeah, in the morning, she looked like an old lady who just took her
This
curlers out.
short hairstyle is terrible.
She's
But
got
in
short hair, and
reality-
it's like
Terrible.
tight little curls, and then she wakes up in the morning, and so it's like big.
Poof.
It was bad. I mean,
It's like
if
an
I was
explosion
him,
on her
because
head.
they wake up, and he's getting dressed, and he's like, "Oh, I'll meet you downstairs," and she's like, "Wait, I'll get dressed and come with you," and he's like, "No."
Not with that
No.
hair.
Yeah.
But it's funny because she talks this tough talk about how she,
Yeah.
has her own agenda and she knows what she's doing and, guys won't take advantage of her. But she allows herself to be taken advantage of. Because she has those doughy eyes whenever he leaves. She's like, oh, I
Yeah.
fucked up. Like, damn it. Like,
Oops.
I like him. But he
But
doesn't
the
like
whole
me.
point of her coming to Capeside was to get away from her promiscuous past. And she dates Dawson for like 3 weeks.
A minute.
Dumps him. And is now like sleeping around. It gets worse. isn't it?
Having near sex on grandma's coffee table.
Yeah, with 30-year-olds.
Sleeping with the jerk jock. Is he a jock? I don't know. I might be making that up.
He was the class stud, quote unquote. That's how he was described.
By who?
So not a
Oh.
jock necessarily.
Not a jock.
Just
but
like the
popular guy
popular hot
who
guy.
can get any girl in school. Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. Then they go to take their test,
and the teacher's still not
the
there.
test is canceled. So what do? They
go to like the 50-yard line on the school football
Is that
field.
why they were laying there?
Yes.
I missed everything involving class or the teacher. I was like, why are they?
It was
all
quite
going
impressive.
night-night time
So
on the field?
rewinding a little bit, it was kind of impressive that the next morning Pasty takes charge of the entire study session, and
because they wake up at 6 a.m. and they were like, oh shit,
Like,
we
oh
only
no,
have
our
3
test,
hours.
our
And in my head, I was like,
test.
you guys have plenty of time to go home and shower before this test. And no, they had to like finish studying.
Yeah.
And they went hard.
At 6 a.m.
Because Pacey was, like, taking the reins and, like, getting them in shape for the test.
And they were studying around the pool, too, and, like, quizzing each other with sunglasses on and shit.
Like, quoting
Beowulf.
They all
quoting poems
they all
and
dived
sonnets.
into the pool, like, in some of their clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
And
it was
so,
a fun
so that's what, like,
It was a fun Wednesday.
Yeah.
Also, none
Pacey
of their
kinda-
parents were like, "Why didn't you come home last night?"
I know. Yes, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, why isn't anyone like worried about what their parents are gonna think that they're not home on a school night studying for this test? I never did that shit when I was in high school.
No, I wasn't allowed to just not come home.
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Even on a weekend, I wasn't allowed to not come home.
So Pacey he's like, I have one more group activity, and it was to take a nap on the 50-yard in the middle of the school football soccer field because they pulled an all-nighter ish.
4 or 5 hours of sleep.
They were
That's
fine.
plenty of
and they're
time.
children. They're fine.
All right. So that was.
But I need conclusion. I mean, my last note was I want to know what their test scores were.
Well, they never took the test.
They didn't
But
never take the
eventually
test.
they had to.
Well, we don't know.
I know, but in teenager time and teenager TV time, I mean, they took it. It's over some
We
way.
knew what the
by
scores of
time.
the purity test were. I want to know.
Well,
how
that's
this
the
turned
juicy part of the episode. No high schooler back in the day watching this was concerned about what scores they had in the next episode on their literature test.
But I would be, because if I knew that I could still ace it after all this like nonsense bullshit, then I'd know that I can still get away with nonsense bullshit.
No
Also-
part of Dawson's Creek is a lesson in reality.
The school.
That's true.
The school is a
Because Asperger's.
Yeah.
School-
Lesson in Asperger's.
School and classes and teachers are all secondary characters. It's all about their relationships with each other.
Interpersonal relationships.
Yes, interpersonal relationship. It has nothing to do with school and schooling.
School is just a backdrop.
You're never going to get those test scores, Cyndi. Sorry.
Okay, episode
How
8.
will I go on?
You can.
You'll be okay.
You'll be okay. Episode 8.
The Reluctant Hero.
Yeah.
Who was the Reluctant Hero? All of them? Dawson and Pacey are both Reluctant Heroes? I think so, because...
Pacey?
I think Dawson, too, because him and Jen have, like, rekindled a friendship. Because Dawson sees Jen spiraling out of control, like, drinking all the time, hooking up with Chris and his friends. And so he's the reluctant hero and Jen is feeding him all these compliments about how he's such a good guy. You know, deep down, he's a good guy and all this stuff. And, you know, he doesn't need to be taking care of her or whatever. And he's like, well, you're my friend, so I am. And I'm not as great as you say I am. But I'm going to be here to take care of you anyways.
Jen is like on a bender.
Jen is on a serious bender.
I wrote...
She's showing up to school hungover.
She's crawling into Dawson's window. Apparently he's replaced the ladder, not for Joey, but for Jen to crawl in drunk and like pass out on his bed.
bed.
And puke in trash cans.
And puke in trash cans.
I wrote, I'm identifying with Jen and Pacey in this episode.
Oh, really? Jen, because y'all are both alcoholics?
Well, that's where I am right now. I'm just going through a thing. I'm climbing into random men's windows through the ladder and falling asleep in their bed.
Okay.
That's just where I am right now
All
in my
right.
life. I'm just going through a tough time. I'll be fine.
I feel like I wrote a note here about Jen's behavior also reminding me of Cyndi.
Precisely.
I can't remember. Oh, yeah. Jen is off the rails like Cyndi was after her last breakup.
After every breakup, I'm off the rails for a little while.
You dating all those guys and stuff. Jen, like, getting drunk on the weekdays and hooking up with dudes all the time.
Multiple dudes.
Multiple
Not that I
dudes
ever
sometimes.
did that.
Multiple
That's
dudes. Well, let's clarify. Multiple dudes because it's at the same time.
Yeah. It
Like
was
a threesome.
Like a
at
threesome.
a party.
At a
Yeah.
party, yeah.
I've never done that. But after this breakup, who knows? I might go real deep off the rails.
I mean, no judgment here if you want to take that route.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate it.
We never...
The advanced approval.
I mean, we didn't judge you the first time.
Yeah.
No, it's just what people do.
It's just what people do.
when they go off the rails.
It
I did
happens.
that after my last big breakup.
Yeah,
and
after
I did
a
have
breakup.
friends judge me. They're like, I think you're dating too much. And I'm like, you're married, so fuck you. You're not dating enough.
Any judgment
No
from my friends.
No judgies.
No. See,
You do you, girl.
I was just trying to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I
trying
mean,
to
you
get
had
through the
a
day.
lot of lost time to make up for because.
Oh, I think another proof that fictional Capeside is in Massachusetts is that Dawson wins the film festival contest, and it's from the Boston Film Festival organization,
Yeah.
and he gets $2,500 towards
Which he
his next
tries
film.
to give half to Joey.
He doesn't
Is it because
try.
she-
He does.
Because
Yeah,
she
she takes
contributed
it.
to the...
Well, the award was given to him as a filmmaker and Joey as a producer.
He credited her as a producer on the film.
Okay, so he was
so-
just being fair.
Yeah,
Right.
And it wasn't prize money; it was grant money to make another film. Mm-hmm. And
But it was a straight up check.
I mean, yes, but I think it was towards like making another film for the
That's
next...
that's what Dawson said. He's like, we get $2,500 to the next film that we do.
But then Joey's like, well, I don't have time for that shit. And he's like, oh, okay.
Now that I'm not your friend or girlfriend,
And they
no.
still have not boned. Correct or incorrect?
Nobody's boned except for Pacey.
And Jen.
Oh, and Jen, yeah.
Well, yeah, she's boned.
Okay, Pacey
This
and
is taking my path.
Pacey and Jen have boned people. Dawson and Joey are still virgins.
yes.
A side note, I noticed a lot in our discussions of season 1 that I mixed up names so many times in the recording and was not corrected. I didn't correct myself and you didn't correct me. So when I was talking about Joey, I would say Jen. When I was
What podcast were you a part of? You're like, yeah, that's right. I agree 100%.
Why were they given names that were so similar?
I know.
Jen and Joey.
And they all have
And Jack.
and other than
Why?
Jen, no other female on this show has an actual girl name.
I know.
Yeah, Andy, Joey.
Andy and Joey.
And then Andy's brother Jack, also a J name.
yes,
Pacey is not a real name.
all the J
Dawson,
names.
also not a real name.
No.
Yeah, it was all confusing.
You were just saying whatever.
And then
Yeah.
And you had full support.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I had full support.
apparently the jocks are given C names like
Cliff and Chris. Whoa, pattern much?
What would that pattern be?
Just C names.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just certain types
Wow.
of people get certain names.
Anyways, so Jen's going off the rails. Jack, I have this correct. Jack asked Joey on a date,
And
on a real date,
I put in my notes,
Yeah. I
because
did-
you like Jack.
I did too.
Hashtag Team Jack.
I said
Team Jack.
Joey goes on a date with Jack! Exclamation point.
My problem with Jack this episode, though, no backwards baseball caps. I didn't recognize him at first. I was like, is that the guy? Oh, yeah, that's Jack.
Jack was wearing a backwards baseball cap.
All the time. In other episodes.
Who
Who is Jack? Jack?
I mean,
Jack works at the restaurant.
Maybe when he's at the restaurant, he's wearing his hat, because if you're working in a restaurant, your hair either needs to be pulled back or in a hairnet.
Who is wearing the backwards baseball? We talked about this.
I think
Anyway, I knew it was Jack.
I think you're right. I think I do remember seeing Jack, but it's really only been when he's in the restaurant, when he's working.
Yeah.
Is that he's
That was
wearing the
enough for her.
base? Yeah, it was enough for her.
I have another note about Jack. He was like, to Joey, you've been avoiding me like some sort of disease. And then my commentary was, no, Jack, it's your sweater. He was wearing like this big baggy maroon sweater with a big black stripe across his chest.
That's very typical of the 90s.
Dude.
90s clothing had no shape.
Yeah.
Everything was baggy. I remember myself wearing super baggy. I would wear super baggy polo shirts with jeans. And I thought that was cute.
And
Yeah.
usually like Nike or Adidas oversized t-shirts and
Yeah,
shit.
oversized t-shirts, oversized polos
That's where it
with
was at.
jeans. Like that was that was what I wore when I wasn't in school.
That's what I wore in school.
Well, I had to wear uniforms, so I didn't have a choice.
I mean, I'm sure the adults in the 90s loved it because it's not
Yeah,
like
right.
now where everybody has their fucking TNA out all over the place. There's
You sound
Xanax.
old as shit.
I
I do the same thing when I see girls' ass cheeks hanging out of their denim shorts. I'm like, your ass cheeks
There
are
were
out,
bitches
girl.
In middle school with their ass cheeks hanging out.
I saw
Not
a
at
girl
in my
school.
day, too.
Not
I
at
saw a
school.
girl
At my
today
school,
on the train.
It was not allowed in the public schools.
Oh,
I remember.
no, we had to have
Yeah.
shorts and skirts had to be fingertip length when you were standing. Your arms were down by your side, fingertip length. Yeah, nothing could be hanging.
that was our rule, but bitches got away with it.
Oh no,
Wow.
nobody got away.
No
with
one
it.
got away with it.
And
in
then
my
Mr.
public-
Thorne, maybe I shouldn't be saying his name. I'm sure Mr. Thorne isn't going to be listening to this, but he loved Amanda C. Oh, that's her name. Was
Oh,
the
dropping
biggest
all
slut
sorts
in
of names out here. This
This
is going out to the public. I mean, anyone realistically could listen to this.
We're
But
like
no one is.
infringing on things now.
Although I have dropped real names in our first, like, the ceramics teacher, Mr. Although I didn't remember his first
couldn't
name.
remember his first name.
All right, so everyone's happy that Jack is going to get some and going out with Joey, right? Right? I had no real feelings towards this. I didn't care.
I mean, yeah, he kind of tricked her into going on a date because he's like, oh, we're just friends, gonna do a thing. And then she's like, okay. And then he immediately goes to his sister and is like, I have a date with Jen or Joey or whatever the fuck her name is. God damn it. And he says this in front of, who was sitting there?
Dawson?
No, Pacey.
Oh, right, Pacey.
And then Pacey's like, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I know that,
He's your bro.
yeah, like Dawson's your bro. And he's like,
Pacey's like, just don't involve me.
yeah, he's like,
I'll be
Just
okay.
leave me out of it, I don't
Mhm.
care.
So is it this episode where Dawson goes to the party with Jen?
Yes.
And that's where he interrupts her almost getting into a threesome?
Yeah, so I think, I forget what happens. Oh, yeah. So Dawson shows up Dawson shows up at Joey's to give her
The
half
money?
of the money.
Right.
And, because he's like, well, you earn this. You do what you want with buy art supplies or whatever, which is, she's like, oh, I could use this for art supplies. And then he's like, oh, you're all dressed up. What are you doing? She's like, oh, just going out with a friend.
Going out with a friend, yeah.
And then
she
he's
says,
like,
"I'm working
okay,
on it."
well,
Sure
bye.
enough.
And then he turns around
And
to
then
leave.
so typical TV writing move. Gotta
Yeah.
write it in where Dawson leaves just as Jack is entering the
Stage
scene.
left.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, typical. Yeah,
So, yeah,
Joey.
I've had, yes, you're right, but I've had too many glasses of wine. Dawson gives Joey a look like, oh, I see.
I see how
I
this.
see. But also the puppy dog, like, I'm so heartbroken. Oh,
But still
I see.
staring deep into your pupils. as he
But
does
you
it.
know, that's the moment that he realizes that maybe, just maybe, that Joey left him
For Jack?
for Jack. I don't think that she did.
I don't think that she did either.
I don't think she did intentionally, but that idea.
I think he was the catalyst for change.
Oh,
Yes,
probably,
yes,
yeah.
the idea of him and what. Where's the next explosion?
I mean, he was, because he comes in and he can really talk to her about art.
Yeah.
And he is showing interest in the same things that Joey's interested in. And he's genuine about it. They work together. Yeah, I mean, he certainly was the
I mean,
catalyst.
up until this point, like, Joey has only known
Dawson, yeah.
And suddenly she meets another guy who is not Dawson and maybe better suited for her or whatever. And she was like, oh, like, it as a teenager, dawns on her for the first time that there might be, like, other options.
Good for her. Like, this show
Yes.
would have been so fucking boring if it was just Dawson and Joey for 6 fucking seasons or however long this.
I assume they get back together at some point, right? I
I
assume they do this.
I mean,
for like 5 years,
Like DNA strands.
just back and forth, back and forth. I don't know. That's just my guess.
I mean, there is a major relationship that happens with Joey, but I don't want to ruin it. And I actually really can't quite remember how it all goes down.
So she's exploring this other options because she's 15 and she has other options in life besides fucking Dawson. And Dawson, not that great.
So I still firmly believe that the two reluctant
Agreed.
heroes in this episode are Dawson, because Dawson rescues Jen, or quote-unquote rescues Jen, from the threesome.
And he was reluctant to be involved in the whole party
He was
scene.
reluctant, yeah. Well, and then also, like, when he drags her back to his dad's place, because he's spending time with his dad, like, his dad is trying to come back into his life as a father and a friend. He brings her back to his dad's place, you know, puts her up in the bed because she's drunk and can't handle her shit. And he's taking care of her.
And her titties are all out.
And he's taking care of her, yeah. And she kind of half wakes up and talks about how he's this great person, and he's just like, I'm just doing what any friend would do, some shit like that. Yeah, that scene.
I wrote a note. She was talking about how special he is.
Right, how special he is.
Because, because he stares so deeply into people's eyes. This was his response. I didn't know what to make of it. She just puked. She was like, ironic, isn't it? Bad girl puking on a white picket fence or some shit like that. And I was like, oh my God, girl.
Yeah.
Like, everyone just needs to chill with the dialogue sometimes. Like, just be a drunk with your tits out, puking on a whatever. What is this?
Or anything, sidewalk.
Yeah, whatever.
Dumpster.
So they have this big long talk about how she thinks he's so special because he doesn't like fall for shit like this and he has it together, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, you're special too. If you weren't so special, you wouldn't be so miserable. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't remember that line. I must have been in the bathroom.
You must have been in the bathroom.
But I don't. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
You wouldn't be so miserable. Like
maybe he's saying that, like,
she's having a hard time
because she has so many
conforming.
feelings.
Yeah, because, like, dumb, simple people are just, like, happy because they're dumb
Yeah,
and simple.
but she, like, can't conform to...
Yeah, but because she's so deep and emotional.
Deep in her feelings.
So many deep thoughts.
It makes her special,
that she's
too.
Special. Because they're teenagers.
Yeah.
That's how teenagers think.
I wrote after that quote, what? I did not understand. What?
LOL, what?
I rewound it because I wasn't sure if I heard it right. It's like, wait, hang on. Because I was like eating cherries and stuff when I was. I do a lot of things when I watch Dawson's Creek.
So when you
Other than watch
so when
Dawson's
you eat cherries,
Creek.
sometimes you miss dialogue.
Yeah, because it's like hard to eat cherries
watch.
and not swallow the seed and pay attention to what's on TV at the same time.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
It's either cherry in my mouth or I'm watching something on television.
All right. Good to know.
I rewound it.
So when you need Cyndi to pay attention to something, don't give her any cherries.
No cherry. Nothing with seeds. And I'm good.
So I think that's this is where Dawson is a reluctant hero, because he doesn't. I don't know if he maybe really doesn't want to be taking care of Jen, but he feels some strange obligation to take care of her. So he's a reluctant hero in that regard. And then Pacey is a reluctant hero, although I don't think he's very reluctant. I think he's very, like, proactive in, like, being very compassionate and helpful towards Andy and her crazy mother, who has an episode at the local grocery store. And this is, whatever time that she's done this. This has happened more than once. And they rush over there to get her. And Andy is handling it all wrong because she's like, Mom, just stop doing this. Come on, let's go home. And mother's fighting her, whatever. And Pacey steps in and just kind of acts it out with her, pretends like there's nothing wrong and just, what do you call it? Just, are you shopping for this? Are you shopping for that? Yeah, let's get some of this. And he pulls something off the shelf and Andy's mom was like, "Oh, you don't want to eat that." She's like, "I have some cold cuts at the house. Let me make you a sandwich." And Pacey's like, "You know what? I'd really like that. That sounds like a really delicious sandwich."
It would be.
And is able to, like, get her mom out of the store without any real incident, And so so maybe not a reluctant hero, but I think an actual hero in, like, saving her mom, Andy's mom, from whatever episode she's going through. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I bet she does make a bomb-ass cold cut. I feel like she's struggling in life in a lot of ways, but she's got the cold cuts down. That never leaves your memory.
I mean, when you're a mom, you know how to make them cold cuts.
Mm-hmm. I did write down one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kegs and Eggs.
Who says Kegs and Eggs?
It's
oh.
at the beginning of the house party.
Well, no, it's actually in the cafeteria. Because it's Chris's friend who was like, Kegs and Eggs.
And I was like, hell yeah, I could go for some Kegs and Eggs.
And Dawson is like, and they have to explain it. Like, they have to explain to Dawson, I guess, what Kegs and Eggs are. Because I guess it means, like, what? The party's going to go on so long.
It's an all-nighter, man.
That you egg until it's time for eggs.
Yeah, dude. Kegs and Eggs.
And Dawson's like, oh, God. All right.
I wrote one more note that I have to discuss.
Okay.
I wrote, if one more chick in this show bites her lower lip, I'm going to lose it.
I think it's mostly Jen does that.
No, they all do it.
Do they?
Yeah, I saw Joey do it once.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I
like
mostly
this coy,
noticed
like,
it from Jen.
She does it a lot.
I
They
guess
all
that's
do
maybe supposed to be like how they show that they're young, immature people. I don't know. Or is it like a seduction thing?
I don't even know.
It's like a flirty teenage,
Flirty
90s
teenage
thing.
It's repulsive.
at the end of this episode, Joey, after her date with Jack, crawls into Dawson's window. Does anyone remember that? Were you in the bathroom at the time?
In this episode,
Yeah.
Joey crawls in where?
Through Dawson's window to like talk to him.
She does?
Yeah.
We both were taking bathroom breaks. I don't remember this at all.
I remember this. Wait, let me just check here.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Refer to your notes.
Her notes are, Melissa's notes are much more extensive than ours.
I know.
I took like,
Well, I think it's because I have a bad memory, and so I'm just afraid if I don't write
really, our memory is not that great because we don't remember the scene. So she crawls into
to Dawson's window looking for him, and he's not there because he's over at his dad's new apartment, and B, because he's over at his dad's new apartment taking care of Jen.
Yeah, he's been hanging with Jen.
You're right, he's been hanging out with Jen.
But that's because Jen rejects Dawson, and then so Dawson gets with Joey, and then Joey rejects Dawson, and Jen wanted to get back with Dawson, and then Jen got over that, and now Dawson... And Jen was rejected by the whole group.
Oh my God, this is confusing me!
And now that Joey's rejecting Dawson, now Jen and Dawson are like the odd fellows out.
Right.
So now they're just hanging out.
Right.
And yeah, I mean the whole reason he ends up going to that Kegs and Eggs with her is because he wanted.
He doesn't have anything else to do,
Yeah,
but
he
I mean,
gets, like rejected all over the place.
Well,
and he's like, I'll go.
Jen also kind of dares him to go because Dawson always plays it safe. He never does anything bad.
Yeah.
Jen's just like, come on,
boring.
Dawson, come
I broke up with
on.
him too.
Like, why don't you live a
Maybe
little?
his dong is like...
No, nobody's
Oh, but
seen
no one's
seen
seen
goddamn
this.
dong.
Yeah, no one.
This show.
No one knows about his dong yet.
Sexual prowess could either be his redeeming quality or it could be his complete and utter downfall and failure in life. Because so far, every woman he's gotten with, which has been like 2, has been like dated for 2 weeks and been like, "You're boring.
I'm out."
And peaced out. And then is like crazy to him afterwards, and he's just like all confused and like deep in his soul, and then his parents are getting a divorce, and it's and then he's gonna make some films, and
Yeah, so
Dawson's
the
fucking
episode
worst.
kind of ends with Joey like sitting in his room, like fondly looking around, like, oh, I guess he really has moved on so quickly, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't have pushed him away.
Right.
Biatch.
I mean,
Maybe
yeah.
you can't have it both ways.
That's exactly what Dawson says to her.
When did he say that?
Like earlier in the episode. It might have even been in episode 7.
yeah, he was in the
The
last
all-nighter.
episode.
Right, where he's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't like be my friend and want to talk all the time and then expect me to give you space. Like, how am I supposed to give you space if we're talking all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Joey.
She doesn't know. Nobody knows what they want. But we all have to remember that they're teenagers and they don't fucking know.
Yeah, but
either.
adults wrote this.
But they wrote
But
it.
they wrote it for teenagers.
They wrote it as teenagers, so they were like thinking back on their own teenage shit. How stupid they were.
I
that
didn't
a
do
word?
any of this shit. I didn't have nearly this much drama.
Me neither.
I didn't do anything except like
I do
steal
remember-
a bunch of shit.
I do remember in my preteen, teenage life that I did deal with a love triangle.
Well, I told you about my love triangle. I was crushing hard on and he was dating Kathy. And you know what? Tariq.
Again, we gotta bleep all of this.
Can you just use first names? Maybe just first names.
Tariq played saxophone, and so did I. Kathy was a basic bitch, and she played flute.
Oh, wait.
And I was like, what the fuck?
This whole story, the dynamic just changed because I learned that you were all in band.
Y'all were all band nerds.
So we're talking about hardcore nerd.
Yeah, but
drama.
Tariq also played sports, and so did Kathy, and I was in like theater and band.
You were the nerd.
I was the nerd.
You were the nerd.
Tariq didn't want anything to do with me. So
Because you were the nerd.
yeah, and I was also like fat. So there's that, and I was a nerd,
there's no
and I was
fat
in
shaming here,
theater.
okay.
But I was, and he was like digging the tall blonde Kathy flute vibe.
Okay.
I was a very passive person. When this boy, his name was Ronnie, no last names. With Ronnie and his girlfriend would
Ronnie,
like go
Exodophilus.
when they would go through their
Snuffleupagus. Ronnie Snuffleupagus.
fights and breakups and stuff, and he would become stepping to me. I'd be like, I don't know, your ex-girlfriend, like, and she was kind of ruthless. She was ruthless. Ruthless to the point where, like, years later, after we'd been out of high school for at least 5 years, she still, like, used it against me. I remember we were at a function together, and I don't even remember what I said. I said something, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like that time you tried to like date Ronnie behind my back." I'm like, "What?" She was married by this time, had a kid with her husband. I'm like, "Is this?"
She couldn't let that go
you
with
still
Ronnie.
butthurt with Ronnie?
About
Like really?
Ronnie.
Like I haven't even talked to Ronnie. Ronnie who?
I was,
New phone, Ronnie who?
I was in a similar love triangle, but I was a little bit older, 23. Anyways, yeah, same thing. Bitch came after me.
With weapons?
No.
Oh.
With her words.
With her words.
With her words.
I know.
With her words.
Yeah, this bitch came to me with her words too, man. And I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter.
I'm a.
All right, we're totally going off track. We are totally going off
We
track.
are veering
In
hard.
Oh my
episode
god.
9 of Dawson.
Okay, episode 9.
Nobody wants
This is
to
called
listen to us
this
talk
episode.
about our personal lives for
I know.
3 hours.
This is not therapy.
Actually, people might. I found it all to be very intriguing.
This episode is called Elections. So it's very everyone's running for student council in this episode.
There's the assholes, which is Cliff and Abby.
Nope. Nope. Not Cliff.
I'm sorry.
Chris
And
Abby. Abby's back on the scene.
And they are over the top.
She's
Abby more than Chris.
She is a
Yeah.
big time C word.
Why's she being that way?
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like the nerds that we barely see. They're just like they're props essentially.
They should win though.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know who wins.
Just like we don't know.
Just like
score.
God
just like we
damn
don't know.
true.
Just like we don't know the grades they make on that literature test.
And then there's Andy who convinces Joey to be her running mate. And we're not. It's just like sophomore
student body. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not even like president or anything. They're just like.
Well, I guess
representatives.
Andy would have been running for sophomore class student president, and Joey would have been the sophomore class vice president. And yeah, and that's how they're running. So there's like two people, president, vice president running.
Yeah.
So we have the stereotypical nerds who are running. We have the assholes who are Chris and Abby, and then we have the neutrals, the neutral people, middle of the road girls,
normal people,
normals,
the norms.
the norms who are running, which are Andy and Joey. And so yeah, the whole show just surrounds this election thing, and we just get this weird dynamic of different types of personalities.
I mean, it's a plot device again to sort of call out Andy's issues, and
Oh right.
for once, There's an episode that is not about Dawson.
True. Oh my
Because
God.
Dawson-
Yes.
Very true.
I mean, there is some Dawson in here, but there's two.
Oh, there's Dawson in here.
Well, there's
His
two.
dong, he gets naked in the end.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There's two.
There's Dawson in here.
There's two story arcs in this episode that don't really intersect at all. They're completely separate from one another. And one is the student election. And so Pacey is the campaign manager for Andy and Joey. And meanwhile, Dawson and Jen are running around. He has Jen proofread his script for the the movie that he's going to be writing with the $1,200 that he has remaining to make a film. And
she says something. I wrote down a quote.
what did she say?
Write
She
it.
said it doesn't
I mean,
have-
Say it.
Write it, girl. She says, it doesn't have enough raw, dark pain that comes with being young. And I was like, bitch, just wait. Just
Yeah.
wait.
I had
it
that same
only
thought.
gets worse from
I had
here.
that same thought. I'm like, you.
Raw, dark pain that comes with being young.
Yeah, you do. You are feeling these raw emotions when you're a teenager that you don't know what to do with. And as you get older,
For the first time, so it's like very confusing.
yes. But as you get older, you have a greater understanding of what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. But it gets worse.
Way worser.
Way worse.
Way worser.
Way worser. But then this also brings back Dawson's idealistic romantic tendencies and how he sees everything through rose-colored glasses and it's just pretty and sweet and kind, and he decides to try and write a romance instead of a horror. I guess it was a horror film that he...
Yeah, the first one was a horror because there was that fake head that he
Right.
made
There was
out with.
decapitations going on.
He made out with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bad
He would. Did he stare into its eyes first?
Yeah,
Deeply.
a little
While
bit.
his dad instructed him on how to kiss. He practiced kissing on a mannequin head while his dad told him what to do. It was a weird scene.
Was his dad shirtless?
No.
Why?
Well,
What?
because he gets naked in this episode, and I'm like, why is he so ripped?
Who
Dawson's
gets naked?
dad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
his dad. Because his
Mitch.
dad.
Like, what
his,
is Mitch doing?
His
on
dad
the
is
side?
a dilf.
He's,
You know,
I mentioned this when we talked about
Yeah.
season 1 that
I
that
mean,
up until this point,
Melissa
Dawson's
wants to bone down.
yeah, Dawson's
Mitch.
dad is the hottest guy on the show
sure, physically.
physically.
His acting's real weird. It throws me off. I don't know if that has anything to... if that affects your DILF.
I didn't notice his acting being off.
It's like over the top.
oh, compared to everybody else on this
Yeah.
show.
Yeah,
Really?
'cause remember
the
that,
acting
that
is bad.
monologue? Hang on, let me refer to my notes. Season 2, episode... whatever it was when they were first getting divorced.
Like 2
And he
pages
was-
of notes.
Cyndi was just going back and forth
Let
looking
me
at 2
refer to my-
pages of notes.
Let me refer to my note. He was like crying about his dad. He had this huge long monologue about how life is short or something. He's like, I remember my dad. He was the best man. Do you remember that?
I remember-
monologue?
I remember
And
what
was
you're talking about.
It's just it just reminds me of high school. I'm going to drop another name right now. Mr.
First name.
Matthew B. My
Mr.
theater
Bun.
teacher in high school was very over the top with all this shit. It just wasn't very realistic. Anyway, all that being said, I feel like his main thing that he's giving Mitch is his body.
Well,
He's only valuable on screen if he takes his shirt off.
Well, he gets shirtless because Gail invites him over to fix the dishwasher, and he doesn't fix it. He makes it
He
worse.
fixes
He fixes something.
her vagine, if you know what I'm saying.
If you know what I mean, you just said it. You just said it
What-
straight up.
Once again on the kitchen table.
Yeah. And Dawson walks in on them, and he gets excited about
I
it
know!
this time.
That
Yeah,
kind
he
of
walks in and he
me out a
sees
little
his
bit.
parents, who, I mean, yeah, it's mixed because they're on the threshold of getting a divorce and he wants them to get back together. So he walks in and he sees his parents having foreplay on the kitchen table and he's like, Hell yeah!
So up until this point, Dawson's
Right
been
on, Pops!
yeah. Up until this point, Dawson's been disgusted and creeped out by his parents constantly having sex. But this time, he's excited about it because he thinks
He had a full-on erection.
I don't know about that.
Not true.
He did.
Because he thinks his parents might be getting back together. So that's just like a side story of Mitch and Gail possibly getting back together. But we don't really know. All we see is just
we do
them.
know. Don't we?
Well,
Yeah, we know. By the end of this episode, we know.
By the end of the episode, we know, yes. But I'm just saying, up until this point of the episode, they're just hooking up, man. Mm-hmm. Getting it on.
So Dawson is writing his movie, and Jen is like, well, your script is, lacking in all of this raw emotion, and it's because you're so uptight and repressed, and you don't let yourself be a teenager. So then she wants to take him on this, crusade to, be the kind of teenager
to open him up.
That she is. So, she's like, well, don't you, when you were a little kid and you went to a grocery store and you really wanted a candy bar and your mom wouldn't let you have it, didn't you ever just, take it and put it in your pocket? No, I felt really good. You stole this candy bar. And he's like, no. So she's like, well, this is your symbolic candy bar, except they're not at the grocery store. They're at the makeup store where she has stolen a million every episode between her and the Abby. They go into the store, and I'm like, why are they so loud in this store? Because every time they go in there, they steal stuff. So Jen wants Dawson to steal a lipstick.
I feel like he would have been more down to clown if it were something that he were into. Yeah. Stealing some goddamn lipstick, what does that do for him?
I mean, in her mind, she's like, oh, you're going to get that rush of, walking out the door with something.
Like, doing something you know is wrong.
Which there is that rush, but also the rush of, getting the thing that you wanted for free.
And then having it. And then you have a thing you want.
But he's missing out on that because...
It's lipstick.
He's stealing lipstick for her, and he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He's not into it. So he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then they walk out of the store,
and she's like,
oh my god, is it the best feeling ever? And he's like, yeah, a total rush. And she's like, you didn't steal it, did you? And he's like, no, I wasn't interested in stealing fucking lipstick, you stupid bitch. And that's not what he said. He's nicer about it than that, but not much nicer. Then they go skinny dipping or something.
Yeah, I don't know how it all leads. They just spend the whole day together, and it turns into night, and Jen is like, all right, here's your next hurdle to jump. Let's go skinny dipping. And she's being all sexual and seductive.
Biting her lower lip. And
talking about his junk or something.
And then she was like, do you ever dream of me?
Yes!
And he was like, most students are totally stupid to any sort of advance. He's like, yeah. And she's like, no, I mean, did you ever pop your tent? Or she said some shit like that.
That was another thing I was trying to keep track of, is all the different ways they talk about erections and jerking off.
Yeah, did we miss that reference?
I missed it.
It was something about tent popping, or your covers are popped up.
But
tent
popping. And then she's like, no, we're just friends.
Yeah, he kisses her, and then she's like, you crossed the line,
Y'all
Dawson.
are naked in a body of water, and she's talking about popping tents and stuff.
And she
with the moonlight
and
above
she doesn't
you.
expect him to do something?
Come on.
Jen's a bitch, man.
Jen is a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like her character at all.
I don't know, I kind of like Jen.
Victoria hasn't liked Jen since day one.
Not from the moment she rolled into town in a yellow cab.
In that yellow cab.
All the way from New York.
Mm-hmm. She took a yellow cab all the way from New York City.
Who paid for that?
I don't know.
No,
she didn't pay for that.
That's what I said. I guess... That's like a $1,200 cab ride. And who paid for that?
Mom and Dad were probably I will pay for it if you get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we don't want to see you anymore because you're a bitch.
Yeah.
Maybe she paid for it with her body.
Gross.
Listen, she's just trying to live in this world.
But
if she weren't so special, she wouldn't be so miserable. She's a very special character.
Maybe she just sucks and that's why she's
Oh, she sucks. A lot of
this
things.
Episode, though, that's it. That's their story arc in this episode. It's not about them. It's about Andy.
It's about Andy, yes.
It's about Andy. This episode is about Andy.
Yes.
And Andy is running for student council.
Abby gets really nasty. in her political campaigns.
Hitting below the belt.
Hitting way below the belt.
And I was
Way
surprised
below the
some
belt.
teachers didn't intervene sooner. I was
exactly.
Like, what the fuck? They're just gonna let her say all this
Yes.
Having like
a debate, right?
Yeah.
Or it's like a campaign.
No,
It was a debate.
it's a debate.
But I mean, it was more of them like pitching why they should be elected, and when they weren't debating. Oh, I guess they were debating about issues. True. Okay, the
Yeah.
debate.
And what's her name?
And Abby,
the school biatch.
the school announces to the
See you next
entire
Tuesday.
announces to the entire student body that they should not elect Andy because her mother is crazy. Therefore, she must be crazy.
Yeah,
and she just goes into all sorts of details that, as a viewer, we're learning as well. Like, we don't know. So we know that Andy's mom is crazy. We know that Andy's older brother died. But up until this point, we don't know how he died. And we don't... And all we can assume is that her mother is crazy purely based on the fact that this older brother died and it's just like wrecked her. But we do learn is that her mother's crazy because she thinks she's responsible for killing her oldest child.
Yeah, then she say like, oh, like there was an accident.
It was an accident.
And it was your mother's fault.
And ultimately it was her mother's fault.
So she says this in front of the whole student body during the debate. She was like, oh, you can't trust her. You know, your mother caused your older brother to die.
And we know that mental problems are hereditary.
And the whole class is just like, what? And then finally some like pencil pusher teacher in the background is like,
Some square comes up and he's like, "Meep, meep, meep."
yeah, he's like, I think that's enough.
But all he says is, yeah, he's like, Abby, I think that's enough. Like, doesn't like...
She would be expelled
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my school for saying some shit like
And
that.
the whole plot, because it gets...
I was pissed.
It gets worse.
I was too.
But I would think after that, because... And then she's all proud of herself. And even her running mate, Chris, is like...
Even Chris Wolf is like, girl.
Yeah, he's like, what? Like, he's a little put off by it. And she is like... She's like, well, I'm just letting everybody know,
I just think it's fair that people should know this information. Like, it's what...
For their safety.
For their safety.
And
yeah.
then she's like, Andy? I want her to reach the television and, like...
Bash her head into the podium.
She did it, and then she was like mildly ashamed, but mostly really smug.
No, she
Yeah, I was
felt
gonna
really
say
good about
her
herself.
smugness. Yeah, it just totally irked me. I was like, oh God.
It's because no one stepped in. They let her
Yeah.
do whatever the fuck she wanted.
But then you don't get any read off of the student body. They're just like...
Well, they're stunned. They never
Yeah,
heard
they-
anything like this before.
They're stunned. I would think. And she just did herself in, but she's still confident. Like, she believes what she said has put everybody... And Andy thinks it too. So Andy has like... She just stands there and starts crying and runs away.
She has like
what else would you do in that
She has a slight breakdown.
And she's like, oh, I can't go back out there. Everybody knows this stuff. I would think that, you know, the student body would have like sympathy for her and think that Abby is a bitch.
Cross the line.
But we don't ever see any of those reactions. We don't see the student body react in any way. They're just props in the background. And Pacey finds her in the bathroom, convinces her to come out.
And then she throws that book against the mirror.
Oh, yeah,
She was done.
Oh right. This is in the bathroom. Okay, you're right. Yeah, I watched this episode at work, so I'm a little fuzzy on things.
in the girls' room, yeah, she throws a...
Well, I remembered all that from the bathroom, so get it together.
You were not in the bathroom during the bathroom scene? You
Maybe
were
she
watching.
was.
You were watching it.
I was listening from the bathroom, eating cherries. I was eating cherries in my bathroom and
She's
listening
eating
to Dawson's
cherries on the
Creek.
toilet and listening to Dawson's Creek in the next
In the
room.
tub with my feet propped on the toilet, spitting cherry seeds into the toilet bowl and listening to Dawson's Creek. It was a great night that I had.
Yeah. So are we getting a glimpse of Joey's craziness, or like her erratic behavior?
Andy.
Oh, what did I say?
Joey.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I got very confused.
Sorry, Andy. God.
Yeah,
Andy's
but also
behavior.
Jack did some whack shit too.
Oh,
He, like-
Jack went off on Joey, right? Is
The
that
whole
what you're
family
saying?
was going off.
Yeah.
Because now, like, I think
Joey?
Joey and Jack, God, these names. Joey and Jack have, like, did they go out again or something? Or, like, they work together, so they hang out. So she's like, oh, he likes me, and maybe I like him. And then, like, while they're working together, she tries to, like, get some personal information out of him. Nothing too deep, just, like...
Well, I thought she was just trying to be a little sympathetic. Like, I'm sorry, I had no idea about your family. If you want to talk to me, like, I'm here for you.
And
I think Jen...
lost it,
I mean,
though.
Joey was trying to be sympathetic, and Jack lost it. Like, this is family shit. You have no idea what's going on.
You dumb
And
bitch.
Joey's kind of like, no, I think I do. Like, if you knew anything about
Yeah.
my family, like, I think you would...
He just didn't want to talk about it.
But he didn't want to talk about it. He
didn't
didn't even
want
want to
a
listen
therapy
to her.
sesh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I
There
got
was
the
some real
impression
shit
from
going on.
her that she was like, oh, he likes me. Maybe I like him back. This is a good opportunity for us to, like,
Bond?
bond on a deeper level. But yeah, he's just like, fuck off.
He just totally, like, closes himself off to
Yeah.
Joey. Yeah.
That's what I would do to Joey, too, though. Stop prying. Stop prying in my business. I need space, biatch.
Whoa. I mean, that's basically how Jack reacted. I need space, biatch.
I haven't liked Joey for the past couple episodes. Yep. Right here in my notes. Don't like Joey.
Put the same page back and
Don't
forth.
like Joey.
That one page.
Don't like Joey. Hate Joey more.
I'm gonna tear that page right out.
But it gets even better. I mean, Pacey does his part, again, being the hero. I guess this is one more opportunity for the teams who are running to express why they should be elected. But they do it over the PA system.
That
And-
was awesome. I was Team Pacey again
Oh,
after
yeah.
that.
I
That
was too.
so cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's always Team Pacey.
Yeah. I mean,
That was so rad.
looking back on it, I don't remember in high school, I don't remember what team I was on, but when the 20th anniversary issue of Entertainment Weekly came out, all my friends were posting it on Instagram, and every single one of my friends was Team Pacey, which meant they were Team Pacey back in high school as well.
So they do like a debate or another, like,
It's just like a campaign push.
yeah, like another, like, summary of campaign points over the PA system. And again, like,
So it's kind of like it's we see Andy and Joey, like Andy's able to compose herself enough to possibly get back onto running.
yeah, like, well, they do their bits. Andy's like tries to go on air and say her thing, and she's like, oh, I can't do it. And then they're off air, and Abby says some, like, heinous stuff, and so then Andy, like, flees the scene. So then Pacey's, like, sits down and, like, presses the on air button on the microphone. And he's like, so Abby, why don't you tell me about whatever? And she sits down and she was like, I'm gonna rule this school because all these people are stupid and, like, whatever.
These morons in this school don't know the difference, and I'm gonna be able to just run over everybody. Where is Chris, by the way, through all this?
He walked out.
Yeah, he walked out
Oh,
because
did he?
after they're off air, she says some more heinous stuff to Andy.
And Chris was like,
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna leave
I'm
now.
out.
Yeah, he's like, you're a horrible human being. I'm a horrible
I'm
human
taking my
being,
choker.
and you're worse, so I'm just gonna leave.
he was still wearing that choker, I think, in that scene. So he was like, me and my choker are getting the fuck out of here. I'm done with this.
Yeah, so Pacey is able to
Expose her.
expose her.
But that's the thing. I mean, yes, good for him that he, like, pulled that little stunt to expose her. But she was already exposed. In my mind, she was already exposed. But I guess her bitchiness wasn't directed at the student body in general. It was just directed at Andy. So if anybody had any common sense, they would put that together and be like, oh, she's gonna be a bitch to this girl. She'll be a bitch to all of us.
Yeah, but they just saw her as exposing some truths, I think, at first. And then when he, like, on the DL, exposed that audio, they knew that she had a whole scheme.
Yeah.
I guess the
Yeah, and
dumbasses who went there didn't realize there was a
They're dumb
scheme
and they
involved.
can't put
Well,
it together.
she even, like, put down Chris. Like, Chris is, just my side piece. Like, he can't really...
Yeah, he's just like the pretty boy.
He's just the pretty boy. Like,
He
he's
is,
not,
though. I mean,
he's
she
not
was
gonna,
like-
he's not gonna do anything. Like, I'm the one who's gonna run this show, not him. And no one else in this school is gonna know any better because everyone's a fucking idiot. I'm the only smart one here. And Pacey's like, you know what? You're right.
He's like,
you are.
I'm the dumb one for not realizing when I pressed this button that you were on air.
Yeah.
He's like, oh wait, I did realize.
And then he high fives the nerds on his way out. He's like,
and they're
all
like,
you
yeah.
guys.
So we don't know. We don't know officially whoever won, but we assume that the nerds won.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Oh, school's yours, bro," and the nerdy kid is like, "Yes."
Good.
Maybe we'll find out in the next. Maybe we'll find out in the next episode. I don't know. I cannot remember. I feel like from my perspective, this is turning more into I'm watching it for the first time as well. Because I'm now realizing I don't remember this show at all. I remember certain moments, like high drama moments, but I don't remember all the like little drama, like all the little drama that happened.
High drama moments.
Just
the show is nothing but high drama moments.
No. It gets better.
Are there explosions?
Does something blow up outside their window?
That's a high drama moment.
I will say there's death.
Which one dies?
It's not all right. I might be hyping that up too much because it's not like
it's not one of the main characters.
It's not one of the main characters.
Boring. That's not high drama.
It's not like Lost where like half of the main cast is dead by the end of the series.
Yeah.
But there's a very important relationship that comes out that happens at some point.
Does Miss Jameson die?
Jacobs?
Yeah.
There's no Jamesons in this. You just want a shot of Jamesons is what's happening.
That'd be fantastic.
There is
is there a baby? Some babies happen?
I don't remember babies.
Pregnancy should happen.
Does
to
this,
Jen.
the show goes through, they like start college. Do they all go to college together?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Sounds like no drama based on your memory. There's no drama.
I'm afraid that if I say the moments that I truly remember, that I'm gonna give it away.
All right, well then don't say it. We'll just do a little sign off. This is Victoria.
You've been listening to Basic Teen TV.
This is Cyndi leaving from London town. Basic Teen TV. Have a great night, and we wish you the best of luck and harmony in everything that you do and everything that you want to do.